Solimsimanga viva! Pata Solimsimanga pata! Gena Solimsimanga gena! Tata Solitata!
Halala GA halala! Halala GA halala! Halala Gauteng halala! Halala Gauteng halala! Mabaphume la masela mabaphume.
Ay, awaphume.
Mabaphume la masela mabaphume.
Awaphume.
Woza 2024 woza. Woza 2024 woza.
Woza.
Democrats, ke le thabo ho nna ho ba le lona ka jeko. It's very, very exciting to be here with you today. It's exciting for a number of reasons. But I'll tell you the most exciting thing about this time is how close we are to changing Gauteng to be a blue province. It is exciting that once and for all, we'll demonstrate to the people of South Africa that South Africa can really lead Africa and can really lead the world. We can do it, we will do it. We can do it because the moment we start putting infrastructure in place, the moment we start getting safety and security in place, the moment we get the economy going in place, Gauteng will catch a cold that South Africa will catch pneumonia that will spread throughout Africa. We have heard Ndatomumwe lying about the 500,000 jobs, lying about the Mapanyaza. And then afterwards saying he's never said what he said. He says, I've never promised prominent jobs. They still have to go through tests. They still have to go. Hey, how desperate can you get? How desperate can you get to take the suffering of the poor people to turn them into your campaign? While you are the cause of the people that are struggling. While you are the reason why so many people find themselves unemployed, so many people find themselves living in abject poverty. Democrats, we have to do this. Because I don't think that the generation that follow will forgive us. Those that will follow us will ask, but what did you do? When this country was falling apart, they will ask, what did you do? I've said, most of you can swim in here. Most of you can swim in here, and those that can swim will not be able to swim from South Africa, from Cape Town to Robben Island. Because if you go to the south, that is the only place that is left. Everybody from the north is now here. Because they couldn't stand up and say, genoeg is genoeg. They didn't stand up and say against corrupt leaders who couldn't do what needed to be done. They didn't stand up. They ran away, and then now they're here. You and me cannot run because we have nowhere to run to. You and me have to fight to save this province, to save this country, democracy. You and me have to stand and say enough is enough, and we need to then lead the charge to change South Africa and to turn Gauteng around. I've been crisscrossing this province, I've been going all over, and the message is very clear. The time for change is now. The time for rescue is now. So when we go and continue to knock on those doors, when we go and say to each church member, each Shebin goer, hey, there shouldn't be a place, whether it's a mosque, whether it's a synagogue, whether it's a temple, whether Kikoli Fu, whether Kikoli Nyalom, hey, every single place in the taxi rank, wherever the people are, the DA must be there. And the conversation is, how much should we give the DA to make sure that they are able to turn South Africa and to turn Gauteng around? Maar ek moet iets sê. Daar's 'n groot slang. 'n groen slang in die gras. Julle weet van daai slang. Daar's 'n groot groen slang in die gras And SBS, Mukwepa, SBS, dan Mukwepa SBS. Hey, fellow president, yes, hey, fellow premier, yes, we don't know what he wants to be. And he's going around and he's saying, no, colored people this side, black people this side. There are others who are saying Zulu people this side, Xhosa people that side. There are others who are saying black people this side, white people this side. We are saying you can't build a South Africa when you're dividing people. Bring everybody together. Let's bring a South Africa that stands together. We are saying we have given an organization 30 years to turn the people of South Africa, towards a better future. All they have done is to make sure that there's more misery. All they have done is to make sure that our kids are stunted. All they have done is to make sure that you don't have a job, or you are now sitting with hopeless young people who don't even think that South Africa can really give them an opportunity to prosper. We can't do that anymore, Democrats. We cannot do that anymore. So the next month and a bit, there should never be a house. There should never be a shack. There should never be a flat. There should never be anywhere where South African ID holders is sitting that they're not talking about the deal. It's going to require all of us to go out there and do what needs to be done. And to dispel the lie, because, if we don't go out in our numbers and talk to people, Amasela, they are busy going out there and telling people lies and saying, we will take the grants, we will take the RDP houses, we will take this, we will take that, among others. Instead, what we are saying is that we will get more people into jobs, and when you get more people into jobs, the more they're able to pay tax. The more they're able to pay tax, we can give Gogo more money than what Gogo has at this point in time. We are saying that the more people will be able to work, the more we'll be able to build clinics, the more we'll be able to build hospitals, the more we'll be able to build schools, the more we'll make sure that 500,000 jobs, Panyaza Yusufi, that you talk about, we can make that a reality. Haroba Hemisa, Democrats. Haroba Hemisa. We are going to be there, we'll meet them pound for pound. Do you want me to give you a bit of good news? Do you want me to give you a bit of good news? The good news is that we are ahead of the ANC in this province. The good news is that we are ahead of the ANC in this province. So Makali Sufi is not watching. He's lying to the people, but the people are saying, we can see through you. He can lie, they can take all the food parcels, and I always say to people, when they bring the food parcels, eat the food parcels. When they give you that t-shirt, take that t-shirt, go and dust your furniture, go and vote for the Democratic Alliance of the 29th of November. You must never forget the suffering that you've had to endure for all this time. You can never be bought by a food parcel. You can never ever trade your future. You can never trade your children's future, the food parcel. That time is long gone. We don't want food parcels, we want jobs now. We want people that are able to buy food parcels for themselves. But let me close by saying this to you, Democrats. We want safety and security. We want infrastructure that is working. We want the economy that is going to be growing and creating jobs. We want social services that are going to ensure that nobody is living an inferior life. But that life is not going to bring itself. We have done our bit in terms of preparing the ready to govern document. We have a plan, and it's exciting investors. A plan that is inviting, is exciting, that is getting people who are sitting and saying, but where should I go? We are saying South Africa, Gauteng is the best place to come and invest, because that's where the Democratic Alliance will demonstrate what good governance is all about. What Democratic Alliance will do is to show that ultimately your children will look at you and say, thank you, Mama, thank you, Papa, for ensuring that you walk the ground, that I can have a better future, that I can have children that will call South Africa a home that they will be proud of. That you can once again hold a passport and go somewhere else and they will say, are you coming when the Democratic Alliance is in government? That's what we want to do. That's what we're going to do. So Democrats, are you ready? Democrats, are you committed?
Yes.
Are you ready for the 29th of May?
Yes.
Are you ready to go and defend democracy and make sure that we prosper? It is not going to happen by osmosis. It's not going to happen by magic. It's going to happen because you and me are going to stand and say, enough is enough. Let us save South Africa. Thank you, Nyabo.
Viva Transnation, viva! Ayaya Transnation, ayaya! Hola Transnation, hola! Hoza Transnation, hoza! Viva the next president of South Africa, Transnation, viva! Viva Transnation, viva! Tata, Johnny Tata.
Dumelang.
Hallo.
Okay. Oh. Siyajabula namhlanje. Siyasebenza namhlanje. Siyajuluka namhlanje. I'm a Democrat, friends. It's good to be here in Ekurhuleni with all of you this evening. And it's good to be part of the blue team. Now this city is a wonderful place. It's a home to wonderful people. And look at all of you tonight. Give yourselves a round of applause. You look amazing on this Friday night.
Aha, dear, aha.
Wonderful, wonderful people. And this city of Ekurhuleni has the potential to be the industrial heartland of South Africa. The East Rand should be South Africa's Manchester. It should be South Africa's Detroit. It should be South Africa's Rhine region. It's got... It's a city of the roads, and we're going to get a bit just now. It's globally connected. It's got freeways. It's got a major airport, and it's located at the crossroads of our country. But unfortunately, this city's future has been squandered. And it's been squandered by the corrupt in the ANC and the EFF. So instead of being known as the industrial heartland of South Africa, Ekurhuleni today has come to symbolize something much, much more sinister. Because Ekurhuleni today is the ground zero for the Doomsday Coalition in South Africa. This is ground zero for the ANC-EFF coalition, supported by sellouts in the Patriotic Alliance and others. So rather than being an inspiring story of industrial advancement, rather than being a story of how we create jobs and grow the economy and get industry working to reindustrialize our economy, Ekurhuleni today is a cautionary tale for the rest of South Africa about what could happen if we allow an ANC, EFF, MK Doomsday Coalition on the 29th of May. So I want South Africa to look at what Ekurhuleni looks like today when they make that choice between the two clear binaries that will present themselves on election day. And that's a choice that's going to face South Africans in that voting booth when they go in there to vote for their hopes and to vote for their future. Do you want the Doomsday Coalition between the EFF and the ANC? You don't sound very sure about that. Or do you want new, good, clean, accountable government with a new government with a strong DA at the heart of it? So it's our responsibility then to look very, very closely at what happened here in Ekurhuleni so we can learn from it, so that we can prevent an ANC EFF Doomsday Coalition from taking charge of the rest of the country and doing to South Africa what they've done to this beautiful city of Ekurhuleni. So what is the story that we want to share with South Africa tonight? Well, following the 2021 local government elections, the DA's Iron Lady of the East, Tanya Campbell, was elected as the mayor of Ekurhuleni in a minority government. Stand up, Tanya. I want you to give this lady a round of applause.
Halala, Tanya, halala.
Because despite the enormous obstacles that faced Tanya and her team, despite the fact that Tanya and the team here in Ekurhuleni did not have a majority, under her leadership, Ekurhuleni started to make progress. When she took office, this city had been so badly looted that it only had enough cash in the bank to cover a total of 7 days. It's enough money in the bank just to cover 7 days. All of the rest of the money had been stolen by the comrades and used to buy cars and luxury goods for the councillors. But bringing good, clean, accountable governance, standing bravely up for the principle of serving people and not politicians, Tanya and the team were able to turn that into a 30-day bank balance in the bank. And I think she deserves a round of applause for that. And less than a year later, Tanya Campbell and her team in this municipality will be able to take this municipality from a failed city to a clean audit, which showed that the money was spent on the people, not on the politicians. And service delivery improved. The grass was being cut, the light bulbs were being changed, and people felt that things were moving forward. But then came the Doomsday Coalition. And because we never got a working majority here, because too many voters split their votes, because too many people in Ekurhuleni stayed at home on election day, the ANC, the EFF, and the Patriotic Alliance ganged up together to remove Tanya and her multi-party government. And this was possible because we did not have a majority. And so, as a result, in October 2022, Doomsday arrived in Ekurhuleni. The ANC, as well as their mercenary parties and the Patriotic Alliance, Al-Jamar, the ARC, IRASA, RCM, PAC, ATM, NFP, UDM, and COPE, joined forces to get rid of the Iron Lady of the East and replaced her with a puppet mayor from the ARC, which only had 3 seats in council. They removed good governance and replaced it with a puppet. In other words, it's thanks to those sellouts in those smaller parties that today the ANC and the EFF are destroying the city and running it into the ground. And I'm here tonight to tell you that we're not going to sit and take this. We're going to do something about it, and we're going to start doing something about it on the 29th of May. And believe you me, the mayor's seat hadn't even gone cold after she was out the office that the looting started. Tenders being dished out. We got a whistleblower who showed us a 2 billion rand security tender that we now have being investigated by the public protector, and it's before the courts. And shortly thereafter, the EFF MMC for finance, Ekurhuleni, you know him, we read about him every day in the newspapers. He was involved in a car accident. And the subsequent investigation revealed that he was using a private vehicle that belonged to one of the tender entrepreneurs who was benefiting from contracts in Ekurhuleni. In other words, this tender entrepreneur had lent him his Mercedes Vito, and then he had got the city to put blue lights onto the Vito, and then had an accident in it. And all because they want to eat the tenders. They want to eat the money that should be being spent on service delivery. They're eating the money, and it's going to pay for the wives and the girlfriends and the vehicles and the houses that we read at all the time. That's your money. That's your money that's being spent on those things. And the ANC and the EFF have unleashed untold misery on the people here in Ekurhuleni. In Tembisa, who's here from Tembisa this evening? Let's hear you. Yeah. 99% of residents pay their bills there, but the rubbish doesn't get collected. The grass doesn't get cut. Mama and Ogogo, they're unsafe in the evenings because there's no street lights anymore because they don't change the light bulb. Substations are no longer maintained and they burn. In springs, across the city, the street lights don't work. And even on the freeways, the lights have gone off. It's dark. And we ask ourselves why? Why? And I can tell you, the ANC and the EFF and their doomsday fellow travellers are too corrupt to even go and buy light bulbs to fix those lights. They have pushed us into the dark. So, there's not a single aspect of life in this city that has been spared from the feeding frenzy that has been unleashed by the Doomsday Coalition coming to power here. Like locusts coming into a field and destroying everything in their wake. That is what the Doomsday Coalition have done here to Ekurhuleni, and we're here tonight to say no, no, no. So what are the lessons? What are the lessons that we can learn from what has happened here at Ground Zero in Ekurhuleni? Number one lesson. Hope you've got your notebooks, you're going to need it to remember this. Number one, in this election, the single biggest way to prevent doomsday happening across South Africa is to vote to help the multi-party charter over 50%. Because we don't want the doomsday, we want the alternative government, don't we? That's what we want. We want the alternative. And one of the key priorities of the parties in the multi-party charter is to ensure we make an offer to the people of South Africa, but that we keep the Doomsday Coalition out. And that's why we're absolutely committed to getting the multi-party charter over the line. Number two, I hope you've still got the notebooks ready. Beware of mercenary parties outside of the multi-party charter. You've got to ask yourself a question when they arrive on your doorstep. And the question is simply this: why do you refuse to belong to the multi-party charter? South Africa's best chance to unseat the ANC and build a new government. Because, let me tell you, as sure as night follows day, as we saw with Irasa and all of these other parties, the moment that your vote is in the box, they're already doing deals with the ANC and the EFF to keep the DA out so that they can loot and carry on with the Doomsday Coalition. Don't trust these parties. They will take your vote and they will give it to the ANC and EFF. And we've seen that right here in Ekurhuleni. Number three, if the Doomsday Coalition does come to power in South Africa, it's going to be the tail wagging the dog, because we've already seen that they will do anything to hold on to power. And this was true under the ANC, the AIC puppet mayor, just as it's even more true now under the ANC mayor. So during 2021, looking at the lesson here in Ekurhuleni. In 2021, in this municipality, the EFF got 13%. But now, as we sit here today, it controls 50% of the mayoral committee, including the finance portfolio and including the critical service delivery portfolios. And that's why your grass isn't getting cut and nothing's being done. But the EFF also controls the council through the Speaker's office and its committees through 6 chairperson positions. So you see, in Afrikaans hulle sê, slim vang sy baas. En dis presies wat gebeur het hier in Ekurhuleni. Slim het sy baas lekker gebyt. En daai baas is niemand anders as the premier of this province, Panyaza Laisufi. You know the man, Panyaza Laisufi. The EFF played that man like a cheap guitar. How do you end up having the most votes and you end up giving the municipality to the EFF? And to this day, thanks to them, Ekurhuleni is still in charge of your finances here, which is why there's no service delivery. So, we've already seen that the EFF and the ANC are planning on making Floyd Shivambu the finance minister after the election. So you're going to have Ekurhuleni at a national level. The same man who looted the VBS bank. The same man who wants to put in place policies that destroy fiscal responsibility in our country. And they want to do to South Africa what they've already done here to Ekurhuleni. But let me tell you the good news. Because my goodness me, we need some good news in Ekurhuleni. And the good news is that it doesn't have to be this way. Because we can change things. We can get things done. And never and never and never before in our post-democratic history has it been more important to get rid of the ANC and to bring in a new government. Because they've been manipulating South Africans for years. Now on the way here, if you don't believe me, and you still don't believe that these are manipulators who promise jobs, jobs, and then destroy jobs. These are people who promise university students NSFAS, but then they chow all the money. Just on the way here this evening, you may know the Speaker of Parliament, the former Speaker of Parliament. And you know the story there. The first speaker in democratic history in South Africa that had to stand down from her office because she's facing corruption charges. Corruption charges. A whole speaker. But you know what she said now? She said that you must pay for her defense in her corruption trial. She wants taxpayers to pay to defend somebody who's accused of stealing taxpayer money to enrich herself and buy wigs and handbags and all these funny things. But we're here this evening to say, no, we're not going to allow that. Not on our watch is the speaker, the former speaker, going to use your money to defend her own criminal activities. Same with Aitar Ayasak Patal. Are you with me on this? You agree? You must pay, she must pay. You must pay, she must pay. You must pay, she must pay. And that is it. But I'm here to tell you this evening that help is on the way, South Africa. Help is on the way. In this election, we can prevent the Doomsday Coalition. In this election, instead of collapsing the economy, we can grow the economy. And in this election, the difference between the Doomsday Coalition and the DA alternative is like the difference between night and day. While the ANC loots places like Ekurhuleni and Gauteng into the ground, the DA has turned places like Cape Town and the Western Cape into South Africa's job creation hub in South Africa. before they turn around and say, oh no, this is propaganda. This is Steenhuisen doing DA propaganda. Just with this week, the ANC government themselves confirmed that this is true. According to a report in Business Day, and I quote, to show you it's not propaganda, I quote, the study which forms part of the Department of Higher Education and Training's work shows that employment prospects are better in the Western Cape than the rest of the country, bolstering the DA's argument that the region is a job-creating hub. We've done it in the Western Cape under Alan Windey. We want to do it in Gauteng under Solly and Zamanga. That's what we want to do. While people are losing their jobs every day in the rest of the country, the DA government in the Western Cape has created 79% of all new jobs in South Africa over the last, over the past year alone, 360,000 South Africans in the Western Cape found a job. While everyone is losing work, the DA is creating work. While people lose their jobs, the DA is growing jobs. And that's the government we want to bring under Solly and Zamanga to you here in Gauteng. So I want to promise you that life under the DA here in Gauteng will be about jobs, 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 and more jobs. And I'm not talking about the EPWP temporary jobs. Those have their place. I'm talking about real jobs. Real jobs that after 2 weeks you don't have to go and join the unemployment queue again. I'm talking about real jobs, not like this nonsense that Panyaza Lesotho comes with, and then the people don't get paid. These young poor people set up for failure by Lesotho, who is using and manipulating them for his own gain. And I want to make a promise that we will turn this municipality back into the industrial hub of South Africa. We're going to bring factories, manufacturing, and lots of jobs right here to Ekurhuleni. But there's more good news for the people of this particular municipality. And that's if we win this province with a strong DA at the heart of it after the election, we can put this province, the city under administration. We can bring in officials. We can fix the city. We can kick the corrupt people out. And so your shortest distance to rescue this city and your municipality is by voting for the DA on election day. There's only one day and only one way that we can rescue this province. And there's only one day and only one way that we can rescue South Africa. And that day is the... You sure? I can't hear you. What day? 29. That day is the 29th of May, and the way is to vote DA. 29th of May, vote DA. It rhymes, it's simple. 29th of May, vote DA. And let me tell you, the great beauty about the DA is that we're not some one-man band. We're not somebody who puts their name on their posters and says, this is the party named after me. We're not a party of individual leaders that have all the say. We're a party of great people. We're the blue team. We're the winning team. And to prove it, I want our candidates and our Gauteng leadership to join me right now on the stage. Let's give them a round of applause as this team joins us.
Viva, DA, viva! Viva, DA, viva! Aye, aye, DA, aye, aye, aye! Aye, aye, DA, aye, aye, aye! Ah, DA, ha! Waza 29 May, Waza!
There's only one way, and that's the blue only one way, and that's the DA way. And look at this team. This is a team that's ready to rescue Gauteng. This is a team that's ready to rescue South Africa. So let me tell you that a vote on the 29th of May is win, win, win. Let me hear you. Win, win, win. A vote for the DA is win, win, win. Because a vote for the DA is a vote to help the multi-party charter over the line. A vote for the DA is for a strong party at the heart of a new coalition government that can work for you and not for the politicians. And a vote for the DA is to keep the Doomsday Coalition out. A vote for the DA is a vote for a party that will never sell you out. A vote for the DA is a party that will work every way for you. So, the time is now here to unite behind the DA. And on the 29th of May, let's come together, united, to defeat the ANC and to begin to write the new story. We can do it. We must do it. And together, we will do it.
Hoi, hoi, tie, hoi, hoi! Aye, tie, aye! Viva, tie, viva! Pambini, tie, pambini! Mawapuma, masala, mawapume! Mawahamba, masala, mawahambe! Tena, tie, tena! Tena, tie, tena! Pata, tie, pata!
And now, because South Africa is a proud nation, and because the DA is proudly South African, I want you to join and stand with us as we sing our beautiful national anthem, our rallying cry as we march to the Union buildings on the 29th of May. God bless South Africa. Phambili Mzansi, phambili.
Phambili.